So why don't I grow things like crimson spineless okra and yellow crookneck squash and pink-eyed purple hull peas? Well, it's not like I have anything against those varieties, and I'll certainly eat those things, but when it comes to setting aside space for things in my garden, I tend to place value on things that I find interesting. I'll explain. So what was just behind me was my cowpea wall, if you will. A lot of weeks ago, I decided that I was going to try to grow peas up my fence because I had grown melons with decent success there last year, but I figured something that needed a little bit less maintenance, like beans, would grow really well there. And I keep saying beans because to me, pole beans and cowpeas and many other varieties of pole peas grow basically the same. What's a cowpea? Well, when a cow drinks a lot of water in the summertime, their bladder gets really full, so they'll saddle right up to a flat rock and unleash their entire... Just kidding. If you've ever had a black-eyed pea or a pink-eyed pea or a crowder pea, those are all types of cowpeas. They're just essentially peas that grow in long, skinny pods, about a dozen peas per pod, and they come in both vining and bush varieties. I tend to grow in the vining varieties because I have enough bush beans around here. I don't have room for any bushy peas, but last year I grew them on my arch trellis and they totally took over the whole thing, which was awesome because I got a lot of peas, but I wanted to find them a new location this year, and so I thought this fence would be a good option. But enough about cows with full bladders and peas that grow up fences. Why do I not grow the same varieties that you can find easily in your nurseries or your hardware stores or the ones that your grandparents probably grew their entire lives of having a garden? Well, honestly, because that's kind of boring to me, and nothing against anyone who wants to grow those varieties. Certainly, certain varieties grow super, super well in my climate that have been grown in my climate over decades and decades. However, there tend to be lots of other varieties that people don't talk about that also grow really well here. Take, for example, my cowpeas. I am growing both blue goose and hog brains beans, and I'm going to insert a clip here because it's kind of hard to show you them, well, vertically. Little round things. Aren't they just beautiful? It's not like pink-eyed peas or black-eyed peas aren't pretty, but did you see the splotches of color on that hog brains pea or the cool speckled effect on the blue goose that makes it look almost like a river rock? It's not only fun for me to grow those kinds of things because when I open the pod, it's like a beautiful surprise, but then it's also more fun to eat those things because they're beautiful. And it's not like I couldn't find a use for a yellow crookneck squash in my garden, but it's certainly more fun to find a use for a Cocozelle de Napoli squash / zucchini because it's striped kind of like both. But regardless, I can find uses for those things, and I absolutely do because I still go to the farmer's market and I'm still buying things, those normal things there. But for me to set apart all this energy in my garden, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is interesting to me, or else I'm just going to let it be neglected for the rest of the season because there's no interest for me. But that does come with a caveat. Not every cool variety works where I live. Like, most of them don't. And unfortunately, a lot of seed catalogs don't disclose it probably doesn't grow well in areas with high heat and high humidity. So when I'm trying out new stuff, I tend to only reserve a couple of plants of that thing in a certain area of the garden to make sure that it's going to work before I haul off and plant a whole area with that variety. Because let's be honest, there's a reason why hybrids exist, and there's a reason why people genetically breed plants to grow well in certain areas, because things that grow really well in Wisconsin probably hate growing in the deep south. So just think about that whenever you are poring over the seed catalogs. Some companies allow reviews, and so you can read through and see where people are from and see what their experiences are. But if not, feel free to purchase that packet of seeds, throw a couple of them in the ground and see what happens, because you never know what you could end up growing, and people will be a lot more willing to accept your glut of zucchini if they're cool zucchini. Scientific studies have proven, aka my anecdotal evidence have proven, cool stuff is easier to give away when you have way too much of it. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you that whatever cool variety you grow next, you have so much of it that you have to start giving it away. I hope that explains why I'm kind of a variety snob, and why if you've ever watched my garden tours, you just don't see anything normal growing. That's just because I don't really like to grow normal stuff. But that's definitely not a condemnation on you if you want to grow normal stuff, because Lord knows we need some gardens to be more productive than mine. It's just a little creative license. If you are considering growing weird stuff, just do it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this little video, and I will see you guys next time. And until then, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye! And if you're wondering why I shot this entire video with an earpiece in, well, the cicadas around here are making love. So if I didn't have this in, pretty much all you can hear is plus me mumbling underneath that sound. So I figured it would be slightly less annoying to have an earpiece in, but I realize now that it might have been sort of distracting, so sorry. But it was all I could do. I'm looking out for you.